Hey everyone, welcome in. I'm Captivate, and I have two really quick announcements before we jump into today's video. I just want to say thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. It means so much to me, and it's really amazing to know that so many people enjoy viewing my content. So I'm definitely trying to put out more, and then I have a lot of really cool ideas I'm excited to share with you all coming soon. So first of all, I did create a Discord, and I'm putting the link for that in the description down below. So I would love for all of you to join that. I'm talking about deck lists, gameplay, upcoming tournaments, everything like that. I would love to interact with everyone in the community and then build that Discord up that way so I can talk to you all. And then second, I am going to be trying to host online webcam tournaments. I'm just trying to find product for it right now. At my local stores, they're all out of booster boxes, so maybe OP11 I'll be able to get a couple extra boxes and then put that on there. So if that's something that you're interested in, I would love for you to join the Discord and then express interest in that so that I know there's going to be enough people that actually want to play in it to make it worth running. So I will have an announcement for that coming soon, and I just want to say again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I have been seeing some people struggle with how to beat Belo Betty as green purple Luffy, and I wanted to give you all a little bit of a guide on how to beat that matchup more often. I've played into it quite a few times now, and I feel like it really doesn't give you any troubles if you know what to do and the pitfalls you can fall into if you know how to play, or if you don't know how to play against it. So I wanted to give you all some advice on how to play against it, because I did see on OP Bounty the matchup is actually at like 41% overall for green purple Luffy, so figured I could give you all some tips and help you all win that matchup more often. So right here, I have a pretty standard Belo Betty list. I pulled this off of the ladder. It has around 2,200 games on it at around a 53% win rate. So I think if you're gonna play Belo Betty, this is a pretty good idea of what you'll be playing against. Obviously, you'll probably run into a couple different cards here and there, but I think this is a good baseline as to what you can expect. So we can start with the leader. She says you may discard one Revolutionary Army type card from your hand, and then if you do that, you can give up to 3 of your Revolutionary Army or trigger type characters 3,000 power for the turn. So one of the main cards that is really good in this deck and beats most decks is the Karasu. I think he's pretty clearly the most powerful card in the deck, and he says on play, if your leader's type is Revolutionary Army, you give up to 1 of your opponent's leader or characters minus 1,000 power during this turn. And then also when attacking, if this character has 7,000 power or more, give up to 1 of your opponent's leaders or character minus 1,000 power. So he's very similar to a Kuzan, where when he comes on the board, if you don't deal with him, it's really gonna hurt, because if they play him on 4, and then they play another one on the next turn, so then they have him swinging into you while playing another one, it can get pretty dicey, and then your leader can become like a 2 or 3k leader against these like 5 or 6k swings. So he is really strong in the deck. The Ivankov is also really strong. He says activate main. If this character has 7,000 power or more, play up to 1 Revolutionary Army type character other than Ivankov with power 5,000 or less. So on their Fordon turn, they can go like Ivankov into the Karasu, and then there's also this other Ivankov which says look at the top 3, play 1 Revolutionary Army type character with 5,000 power or less, and then return the cards to the bottom of your deck. So in general, the deck is just going to play a lot of these bodies very quickly, and then they're going to use their leader effect to trash and then give those characters plus 3,000 power. So one of the ways that you want to play against this deck is you never want to hit them until you can pretty much close out the game. And you'll notice that a lot of these bodies do have triggers that just say play this card, and then play this card and play this card. So it really is just one of those decks similar to Katakuri, where if you swing at it, you kind of have to be prepared to deal with the body that's going to come out of there. And it's not entirely just the bodies that you're scared of. You also don't want to give her resources by swinging into her, because if you think about her leader ability, then she's going to have to discard cards out of her hand to give the characters a boost. So every single turn, she's going to go -1. It's very similar to when you're playing against a Teach. If they use their leader effect every turn, if you've played against a Teach that's not the best at the deck, then you'll notice they run out of cards really, really early, because they're not very good and not very efficient as to when to use their leader effect. So that's one of the things with Belo Betty. She actually wants to use her leader effect almost every turn in the early game, so she will very quickly run out of cards, especially if she's playing things like the Ivankov, that this plays 2 cards out of her hand, and then if she leader effects on the same turn, which she has to because he says he has to be 7,000 power or more, then she's going to run out of cards very quickly, because this is -3 cards in 1 turn. So by not swinging into her, you'll run into points where she has 1, 2 cards in hand maybe, and then you're able to just swing like 5s and 6s and 7s into all her characters, and they die pretty easily. And then once you've killed them all, and then you have a board of 3 to 4 characters, you can then go for game and start to close out the game that way. All right, so now that I've talked about the Belo Betty side of things, I wanted to switch over to green purple and then give you some perspectives on how to play the matchup from that side. So this is the list that I recently used to win the treasure cup. If you haven't watched that video, I'll link it in the description down below if you want to see my matchups that I had in that, and then also I just go over the deck list card by card. So if we look at the deck list, there is the green Zoro. He's going to be really good in resting the 4-cost characters, specifically the Karasu. You can turn the Karasu sideways and then swing into it. So he's a really good card that you want to play around. And then also there is Luna. Luna does come up. Oftentimes you're going to be able to clear every character as soon as they swing with it. But if there ever is a point where they have like 3 characters rested and you want to start to push to go for game, you can just use the Luna, keep them rested, and then you'll be good to go from there. Everything outside of Dragon, some lists do play Dragon, and everything outside of Dragon is going to be frozen by this card. But it's not just the activate main effect that you want to think about. The trigger actually comes up, I think, more often than playing the card actually does. If they ever swing, and then you can just get rid of one of their swings, or even if it's a body they played that turn, like if they played a Karasu, and then you trigger this, and then you can just go ahead and rest the Karasu and then swing into it, so they don't get to use its effect twice. So this is another card that comes up a lot. And then Robin is probably one of the MVPs of the matchup, being able to get you out of one of the swings and then also draw you another card. So she is really good at replacing herself, and then she'll just let you find your giants or 2Ks or 0 cost, whatever you need. I think as long as you don't have one of the hands where you just completely brick on, like, you see both of these, you see 2 Zoro-Joros, you see 2 Luffys. If you have a hand like that, you're probably going to get blown out most games. But for the majority of games, as long as that doesn't happen, you'll be pretty smooth sailing. You just want to run through, like, just cycle your cards, search for the pieces that you need. The Sanji is going to be really good because you're often going to be 2 less than them in Dawn, so you'll be able to get his effect off a lot. And then you also need to think about spots where you don't need to ramp back Dawn with Sanji and Pudding. If you get like 2 on board and then only need to ramp back like 1 Dawn to stay 2 less than them and then still play out the Sanji. So that's a line that comes up pretty often playing against Belo Betty. And then obviously Giant is one of the MVPs of the deck, being able to just be super defensive while also not going down in cards. Yeah, so that's pretty much the matchup. You're not going to want to swing into them. Every time a character goes sideways, just swing into that character, get it off the board, and then whenever you see this Zoro, use him to rest something and then swing into it. Another thing that he's really good for is they do have a lot of blockers in their deck. So whenever you're going for game, you can hold him and then just use him to rest one of the blockers that they triggered out of life, and then go for game that way. So yep, that's the green purple side. I'm going to jump into a match now and then give you all a little bit of an example as to how you want to play the matchup. Thank you all for watching. I hope you do enjoy this video, and I'll catch you all in the next one.
Okay, so whenever you have the opportunity, you definitely want to go second, because Belo Betty is just significantly better going second. So I will choose second. We have a draw and then a search and then 2 Zoro-Joros, and the Robin is really good. So I'm going to keep this hand. So on my 2 Dawn turn, I'm going to want to play the stage and then search. You're always going to want to play the card that lets you see the least amount of cards first. So whatever I draw with the Mary, that will impact whatever I draw off of these 3. Because if I play the Mary and then draw like a Zoro-Joro, then I know that I wouldn't want to take another Zoro-Joro on here because I don't think I'm going to need 4. So anytime that you're given the option, like if you have a search event and a Nami, you always want to play the search event first. That's true of any deck as well. Anytime that you're going to see less options, like in Teach, if you're going to play the stage, you'll want to stage first and then Lafitte if you have both. So we'll draw and then we will search. So I could take a Robin or a Pudding. I'm going to 4 Dawn. So on my 4 Dawn turn, I'm probably going to play the Zoro-Joro. And then on 6, I could possibly do the Zoro, like Pudding into Zoro-Joro combo. So I'm going to grab the Pudding for that. Robin is really, really good in this matchup, so she's also an option. So they'll probably swing 5 here. Maybe they swing 5 twice. Maybe they swing 8. I'm not super sure what they want to play. But yeah, all of these little like 3k, 2 or 3k characters that they have will get buffed up with their leader effect. So they are going to be like something that we'll have to take care of.
And then she does swing 5 here. The only counter I have in my hand is the Robin, and I really don't want to give the Robin up because I like playing it and then using its effect to draw another card. So I'm going to go ahead and just take this. If I did have counter, I was willing to give up. I think I would counter out of that 5k swing. So we'll play the Zoro here. So we're going to 6 on our next turn, and then on 6 we will Sanji Pudding probably Zoro. There's like definitely an argument to make that we could go for the Robin. I really like having blockers in this matchup, so I'm kind of tempted to take the Robin, but I think I will just take another Sanji and Pudding here. And then I'm never going to swing at Belo Betty. I'm not particularly super scared of its triggers. Like, she obviously does have body she can trigger, and then that will blow me out. But also, one of the reasons that you don't swing at her is because you want her to run out of cards in her hand for using her leader effect, because she's going to have to trash one every turn. And then as she does that, then she'll run out of cards. And then once she runs out of cards, then we'll pretty easily be able to kill her in like 1 or 2 turns with the board that we've built, because she's really never gonna clear our board. Yeah, so Karasu, so he's gonna make my leader 4k, and then she'll probably buff these up to 5, so it'll be like 5, 5, 6. So what I'll probably do is counter out of 1 with a 2k, and then take the other 2 and go to 1 life, because on my next turn I'll be a 6k leader. Yeah, so I'll give the 2k here, and then it'll be 5, 6. And then I don't have another 2k. I think if I did, I would go ahead and counter out of this because I'm only giving 1 card for it. So in the long run, I think it's valuable enough to do that. So I'll take this, and then I'll have to take this 6. Oh, they don't swing 6, I guess. They're leaving the 1. So I will go ahead and just give the 2k for that one. I was expecting it to be a 6. Maybe they have a Gordon or something they want to play. And then we are going to our 6th on turn. So what we'll do this turn is I will play the Sanji and Pudding leader effect, play the Zoro. So that will leave me with no Dawn. And then if I do that, the Karasu can swing, the Belo Betty can swing. That's 2 swings. He'll buff, or he'll lower me down to a 5k. So I'll have to deal with these 2 swings as a 5k. So it'll be like probably 8, and then probably 5 or 6. So I think I could counter out of this one. I'm gonna go ahead and just swing 6 at these to get them off the board. But yeah, if I really am scared, I could just go Sanji Pudding into the Robin. And then we'll go ahead and just play Sanji Pudding, and then we will leader effect, restand 4, and then I'll go ahead and swing 6 into that, just to make sure that it dies. Yep. And then now I can play Zoro. If they play the Rush character, I'm really not too... So they could play the Rush character, which is 4. They're at 5, so they'll be at 7. So they could play that for 4, give it Rush through this, buff, lower my leader down to 5. They could go like 8, 7, 8. And then I would have to get out of one of those. So if they do that exact play, I would have to give 2 cards, take the other 2. So maybe I do just play the Robin just to play it a little bit more safe. I don't hate the idea of that. And then on my next turn, I can play the Sanji and Pudding. Because the longer we extend the game, like, the better it is for us. As long as we can withstand the initial like barrage of attacks that she has, we're never really gonna lose. Especially once we draw into our giants, and then just if we can keep cycling some type of blockers, and then we'll get more like Sanji and Puddings and Zoro's on the board. Luna is obviously really good. So if they do that play that I was talking about, where they swing both and then leave them both rested, then I could probably just Luna them both. Okay, yeah, so this is one of the downsides of the Robin, is they have him and then also the attacking guy that can KO, but the attacking one wasn't on board, so they would have had to play him. I'll go ahead and do the Robin's effect. So this is our first giant that we've seen. I'm going to take the Sanji as a 2k. I'm not going to want a giant this turn. And then the Sanji is also a blocker because we're lower on Dawn.
But yeah, this is definitely like one of the reasons that it probably would have been better to play the Zoroark last turn rather than the Robin, but you know, they did spend 2 Dawn to do that. And he's a card out of their hand, and then we got to draw another card. So we do go Dawn -1, we get to draw 1. Alright, so they go 8 at us here. I'm going to take this. I don't want to give 2 cards to get out of that. And then I don't have a giant, but I wouldn't want a giant and go to 2 Dawn and then go to 4 next turn. Okay, so this is a pretty good trigger. I already have 1, so I'm going to trigger this and then rest the Ivankov so that we can tax their hand next turn. And then, yeah, they swing 5 at us. That's alright. I'm not sure what they're leaving their 1 Dawn up for. Okay, so we are at 6 Dawn again. So what I think I can do is we now have a Sanjian Pudding on board, so we will be able to leave 1 Dawn up. So I could go like Sanjian Pudding, Leader Effect, see what I draw off of the Sanjian Pudding, and then I will get back 1 from this, 1 from that, and then Leader Effect will give me back 2, so it'll be 5 for Sanjian Pudding, and then I'll be able to restand 2, and then 2 from them, so restand 4, so I'll have 5 Dawn after I Leader Effect. So in total, I have 6 Dawn right now. Leader Effect will give me 2, and then they'll each give me 2 more. So it's 6, and then 8, and then 10. 10 Dawn this turn to play with. So if I spend 5 of it on them, I still have 5 Dawn left, so then I could either play Sanji for 3. I would just have to not return one of the Dawns. I could do that. I think I can always start with a 6k at one of them, and then see if they give me a 2k. I'm assuming they're not going to. But if they do, then I can just go 7 and then 7 with Leader and know that I kill both. Yeah, so they do give the 2k, so now I can just go 7-7 and then I know they'll both die. Definitely going to play this, draw 1, and then I will go ahead and Leader Effect. So right now I'm at 4, they're at 7, so I can gain 1. So right now I'm at 5, and then they're at 7, so I'm 2 less, so I could play Sanji if I don't add this Dawn, or if I add the Dawn, I could play Zoro. I also like the idea of like spinning my stage. I do need 1 more Dawn to attach to the Luffy because I definitely want to kill the Karasu. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to gain this one, and then I'll be at 5, and then I can attach swing 7. I have 4, and then I can just go like stage, searcher, Nami, and then leave 1 for the giant. I assume I'll find in doing all of those. Can't imagine they're playing any type of event that they would have left the 1 Dawn up, so I'm not sure why they were doing that. Yeah, but now I don't think there's anything that they can do cost wise, but this just cycled into a 2k, so I'm happy about that. We want to grab a Robin, and then I'll play the Nami, and we do find the giant there, so I think I'm good to take that. I definitely could have taken the Luffy, but you know, I don't think it's too bad to have a giant in hand. But if we do take the Luffy, there's a possibility we win next turn. Because I could just start with like a 5k lead and then see how they respond to that. But I do know they have a lot of blockers that they can trigger out of life. Okay, so they do play the dragon. So they can buff him up to like +3 to 11. Or 12, sorry. So it'll be like 8, 12... and yeah, 6, 7, 12. So 6 I'll give the 1k for. I'm just gonna give the I think I'll give the Nami here because the Zoro could come up if they trigger a blocker. And then I'll give a 2k Sanji for the leader swing, and then I'll take the dragon. Assuming they swing it. Yep, 2k. And then 12 into 6, there's no world I ever need to like use my giant and get out of that, because I can clear this next turn for sure. So now we'll just go 2 into 2. And you see how I haven't swung into them and they use their leader effect, so now they literally have no cards in hand. So I can pretty easily from here just navigate through, closing out the game. They can't defend this. I'll just attach 2, swing there. And then all we really have to do this turn is just play down a blocker. And then we'll develop like 1 more body probably. Because one of the things we can do is I think all the bodies they can trigger are 4 or less, so I can just go like 5
6, 7. See if anything triggers, and if it does, I can just play the Zoro to rest it and then swing into it. Okay, yeah, so they get the Inazuma. So now all I have to do is I can just spend 4, rest it, and then we'll just get rid of it. And then I'll leader effect, get back 4 Dawn, and then play the Robin. If you ever don't have enough Dawn to return 2 and then restand 2, always just take it from the characters so you get the full like restand value from leader affecting. I actually don't want to swing here. I'm like pretty safe counter-wise, so I'm definitely not scared of dying, but this is just good practice. Like, so right now they have 3 life, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 swings. I'll go ahead and pass. So I have 5 swings on their 3 life, so I can go for game next turn. Like I can lethal them, especially if I find a Luffy. So there's no reason to give them these cards. And then even if I don't end up killing them, it's not like they'll be able to do anything to me, because if they can KO the Robin in some way with like the whatever that guy's name was. Okay, so they don't do anything. All right, yeah, I think they pretty much just accepted defeat at this point. And then if they do trigger out a blocker, we can just play the Zoro and then rest it. But yeah, swinging with this Zoro first probably would have been better. And then we'll just go 7 and then 9. All right, yeah, so now they do play the Karasu. I'm just gonna play that. I don't need them anymore, so we'll just play that over it. I'll swing 5 to see if they want to give me a 2k for it, because he can't swing at their life. Yep, and then we just go 7 lead. And then even if they trigger that, I can pretty easily go 7-7 and then have game regardless. We'll just do one like 5k. I obviously have game, but you just go 5k, see if they give you a 1k or a 2k. But yeah, that's pretty much the Belo Betty matchup. Obviously, I didn't get like super high rolled, and I think if she does super high roll you, then it's going to be a rough game, because it's rough for any deck. But yeah, just this is the general principles of how you want to play into Belo Betty. You want to not swing at them, play down your bodies, just play pretty defensively, and then if they do give you any like larger swings at life, just take it. Like if they swing like 8, 9, 10 at a 4k leader, just take it, and then you can get out of it later as you slowly dwindle down their board. The blockers are really good. The Sanji, you can play him for 3 because you're going to be lower on Dawn. Like pretty much any point in like the mid game, you'll find opportunities where you can play him out. So just sit behind blockers, play Giant, and then just do your typical game plan. Zoro is really good, and then Luna is also pretty good if he comes up. I feel like it's better in idea than it actually is in practice, but I think the card's good, and I think it does have like applications that it can be used.